this. There are some students who are not able to attend this 1:30 meeting, and so just keep that in mind. If you're not interested in being recorded, you don't have to turn your camera on, and you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. But as this is a welcome for the department, please feel free to turn your camera on, get a glimpse of who else is in the room. If you are not familiar with Zoom, you probably will very quickly in this semester, but there's ways in which you can change the view so that you can see people, so that you can just see what's being shared currently by me. So, feel free to play around a little bit in the Zoom environment. We're all in this together, so we will figure it out kind of as we go. I want to give people just another minute before I introduce our department chair, who's going to say a few words. But if there's any questions or anything that people have, I'm also trying to look through the participants to make sure all of our presenters are here, and I'm finding most of them. But some people are also coming in as just iPhone and guest, and I don't know if that's a presenter or a student. So if I don't see you and I don't seem to recognize who you are, you might just want to let me know, either in a private chat, or you can also just say it. So, but again, welcome. Let's just give it another minute, and then I will introduce Dr. Becks. All right, so I have 133, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Again, just to kind of introduce myself, my name is Dr. William Sharp. I'm one of the faculty advisors here, along with Dr. Cyzeski and Dr. Snyder. Welcome to the psychology department. I know you're getting a ton of welcomes probably today, and this meeting will be no different. We're really excited to have you. And I'm going to speak a little bit along with Dr. Brandhaus about the undergraduate program shortly, but I'm going to actually have us start with Dr. Peter Becks, who is our new department chair this year, and he's just going to say a few words of welcome. So, Pete, you're there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you fine.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction, William. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Boston and the Department of Psychology at Northeastern University. We're all really excited to begin the new semester with you, and we really wish we were all together in person like we would normally be. And so we missed that opportunity to meet you in person. The pandemic, as everybody knows, has upturned everything, but of everyone here, the new undergraduates have already proven that you're resourceful and resilient because you've already been through this in high school. And that's an impressive thing to have achieved. And so we congratulate you on having made it here and through that so far. We've been working hard over the summer and in the last semester to change our teaching so that we can teach hybrid courses for you and to teach you safely and effectively for our students and faculty. But we ask you to be patient with us. There are many new systems that we've set up so that we can attend classes virtually and in person. And there are many new procedures that we have to follow. So there may be some bumps in the road, and we hope you're patient with us and you help us get through these trying times. So we please ask you to be mindful of that. We're all in this together, but I think together we can make it work. And we look forward to the rest of the semester with you. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Becks. So just to kind of give you a little overview of where the rest of the talks are going to come from, we're going to hear from Dr. Coley next, who's going to talk a little bit about research in the psychology department. It's critical, as you know, from Dr. Cyzeski's orientation video in the summer. You are going to be doing both as a volunteer and then also running experiments, getting involved in different levels with experiments. So research is critical to the psychology department curriculum. And Dr. Coley's lab is one that students love hearing about, and I'm always happy that he comes every September here to present to you. So Dr. Coley, I see that you're in the room, and I'm gonna flip the slides for you. So if you just tell me when to go forward, I will, and I'll turn it over to you otherwise.
All right, thank you, William. Hi, folks. Welcome after a fashion. It's good to see you and good to be here with you. I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about a little bit about the research that we do in my lab as an example of the kind of research that you have the opportunity to get involved in here at Northeastern. One really important difference between high school and being at a university is that the people like me who teach the classes here are, for the most part, also scientists who are, in addition to teachers, we are also discovering new knowledge. We're making new discoveries about how the mind works, about how people work. And you, as a student, have the opportunity not only to be in the classroom, but also to be in the lab, learning about how people learn about people. I've had a lot of students who sort of don't think that they necessarily are interested in research until they find out what research actually involves. And then they're like, damn it, Coley, I didn't think I wanted to do research, but here I am. So I just want to take a moment to say a little bit about what we do and then kind of a little bit about the process in general. So in my lab's called the CORE lab. That stands for Conceptual Organization, Reasoning, and Education. And our work is generously funded by the National Science Foundation. Go, William. Beautiful. So what is cognitive science? We study cognitive science. Cognitive science is basically the study of how people think. And it involves topics like attention, perception, memory, and learning, concept formation, reasoning, decision-making, language, things like that. And in my lab, what we do not do is study the brain. So next, William. That's a brain. We fully admit that the brain is involved in these things, but we don't study the brain itself. What we study is, next slide, what the brain does. So I think of cognition as the sort of output of the brain. And let me show you an example of that. So as I said, we study how people organize and use their knowledge about the world. There's a link to my lab if you want to learn more. Next slide, please. All right. Take a look at these various creatures, all right? And what I want you to do is think about which of these share a common ancestor with humans. All right, take a moment to think about that. All right, what do you think? Can you see hands if people raise their hands, William?
I can help with that, sure. If people want to raise their hand or if people would rather put something in the chat, I can read out responses as well.
So this is not, this is a question that I'm actually asking you.
And it's not a trick question.
The monkey, excellent. We have 3 monkeys. It's actually an ape, but that's okay. It's a non-human primate. Any other ideas? Ah, someone says all of them. Does that include the rock? And we have in all the animals. So does that not include the pine tree? All of them except the rock. All right. An interesting array of answers. Let's press on to our next slide. Oh.
You've got
Yeah.
some nice animation. I have to
I
click
do.
through.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. All right. So you can click it, I think, 2 more times, William. Nope. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
No, not yet, not yet. Okay.
Okay.
So we asked this question systematically to 3 groups of participants. And when I say ask systematically, I mean gave them a written version of this question as a part of a larger study looking at a lot of related questions. We asked 8th graders, and we asked university students who were not biology majors, so people much like yourselves. And then we asked first-year biology majors at Northeastern. And the idea was we were interested in not only the degree to which they chose more or fewer examples, but sort of the pattern of how they chose those examples. So as some of you figured out, the correct answer is all living things share a common ancestor, if you go back far enough. As far as we know, not the rock. But you know, science is always learning new things. So the correct answer is all of them. And if you look at the graph on the left, that shows the average number of organisms that each of the 3 groups chose. And what that means, the way to interpret that, is that biology majors chose, on average, more organisms than non-majors or 8th graders. And non-majors and 8th graders did not differ in the number of organisms they chose. So university students were no more correct than 8th graders. Biology majors were more correct than either of those 2 groups. But if you look at that graph, they're nowhere near the top. So the response that all of them would share a common ancestor with humans is still not a common response. If you advance the slide once, William, this is the pattern if you look across the different kinds of living things that I showed you for 8th graders. So everyone said that the 8 shared a common ancestor with the humans. For all of the other ones, you see a slightly higher response for mammals, and then everything else is virtually 0. All right. If we look at the non-majors, this is what they look like. So a little bit higher for some of the more distantly related species, but in general, the pattern is very similar. And then finally, what about the biology majors? Overall, everything's higher. The mammals in particular are a lot higher. But in important ways, the pattern is similar to the 8th graders and the non-majors. So for all 3 of these groups, the more similar something is to humans, the more likely they are to say that it would share a common ancestor. And we think of that in my lab as sort of an intuitive thinking strategy. It's something that we call anthropocentric thinking. So making decisions based on things, how similar things are to us as humans. And it's not a crazy strategy, right? It makes perfect sense in a lot of contexts. But in the context of evolution, the important thing to understand about evolution is that every living thing is related. And so what you see here is even people who are formally studying biology at the university level still seem to fall back on this intuitive strategy when answering questions. And what we do in my lab is look at the implications of that kind of intuitive reasoning for how people learn biological science. But we also look at the implications of intuitive thinking for how people understand and react to climate change, or how people interact with social groups around them and think about membership in social groups. So there are a lot of different research projects going on in my lab where we're examining sort of the implications of people's intuitive thinking in lots of different domains of human experience. And the important thing for you guys to understand now is that none of this work would be possible without people exactly like you. So this semester, I think I have about 15 undergraduate research assistants in my lab, and it's going to be a super weird semester, as we all know. But they're working on a dozen different projects, and some of them are interviewing research participants. Some of them are looking at responses and coding them, characterizing the basis of the different responses. Some of them are helping to design new studies. Some of them are helping to organize and analyze data from older studies. But there are many, many different opportunities in my lab for students to get involved and to actually be part of learning at the frontier of cognitive science. And my lab is by far not unusual in that sense. There are dozens of labs with dozens of other researchers here at Northeastern that have just as ample opportunities for you guys to be involved in creating cutting edge knowledge, not just hearing about it in the classroom, but creating it in the lab. And for my last slide, yay, there's my lab, frozen in time about 1.5 years ago. But we have fun and we do a lot of science, and I strongly encourage you, even if you don't think research is interesting, if you take a class from someone and you find it interesting, talk to them about work going on in their lab. If you hear a faculty member talking about what they do and you think it's kind of cool, reach out to them and find out more about what's going on in their lab. Look at faculty web pages and find out what's happening. Take this opportunity to become involved and learn about actually doing psychological science. I don't think you'll regret it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Coley. Okay, so I'm gonna take this to the next level. Is once you've kind of gotten here and gotten your education and you've learned how to do some good psychological research, you want to be able to take it out into the real world, and Northeastern really positions you well with that because of our co-op program. And so I am really happy that both Kate Porter and Charlotte Lamb were able to join us today to talk a little bit about the co-op program. So take it away.
Thank you, William.
Hi. So everyone, welcome to Northeastern. My name is Charlotte Lamb. I'm the co-op faculty for the co-op program. And with me today is Kate Porter. She is the senior co-op counselor for the psychology program. So she's going to do a brief introduction for our co-op program. And if you have any questions, you can ask me later. Kate.
Thank you, Charlotte.
You're welcome.
William, feel free to move on to the next slide. Thanks. So as Charlotte mentioned, both Charlotte and I are the co-op advisors for the psychology program. Charlotte also works with psychology and linguistics combined students. So if you are a combined student, please feel free to reach out to Charlotte. Our contact information is here as well. So if you wanted to connect with us after this meeting, we'd be happy to speak with you regarding any questions around co-op. So co-op is an amazing opportunity that is unique to Northeastern, and it's an opportunity for you as a student to be able to immerse yourself in hands-on experience in the field. This is something that not a lot of students get to go out and be able to do, so it's a very unique opportunity to Northeastern. It's been around now for over 100 years. And we did have a handout. Was it emailed, William? Did they get the handout emailed?
I actually am not sure what they got in their intro packet, but okay, we can make it available on the psychology department website.
Okay, awesome. So there is a handout if you would like to refer to that, that does have some experiences from students on co-op that have gone through all different types of co-ops, from clinical to research to human resources, all different things. So you can refer to that, or I'd be happy to provide it to you at a later time as well. So one thing to know about co-op is there's a couple of different phases of it. And, so we have the activity phase, the reflection phase, and the preparation phase. The preparation will be the first phase that you will go through. That will be your EESC 2000 co-op prep course. And that is a prereq to actually going out on co-op. So co-op will allow you to do several different things at your time here at Northeastern. One is to get hands-on experience in your field, to help build your professional network and learn how to actually network. Discover what career you're interested in, what your passions are. Also to integrate what you're learning in the classroom to your hands-on experience in the field. So it's really getting to be able to apply the knowledge that you've learned in academics to your career path. It also is going to give you the opportunity to look at different careers and industries. This is something that we talk to our students about every semester. They might go in with one idea that they really want to do research, and maybe they decide that they want to go more clinical. So this is a really great opportunity to be able to try different types of co-ops and learn what you're actually interested in doing. And lastly, just learning marketable skills for future jobs. You'll be able to build your resume, learn how to do interviewing, and what professional behavior actually is in the workplace. So co-op begins second semester of sophomore year. It's a 1 credit, as I mentioned, you have to take the co-op prep course, which is a 1 credit course, and you have to have at least a 2.0 GPA to be able to go out on co-op. We have 4 to 6 months opportunities, and the cycles go from fall and spring. So you'd either start working fall, summer 1, or summer 2 and spring. And it's 4 to 6 months opportunities, but it doesn't mean that you can select if you want to work 4 or 6 months, depending on what type of a job you're looking to go into. Some of those jobs will be predetermined based on availability and projects and things like that. So students typically complete anywhere from 2 to 3 co-ops. Some students will just do 1. So it really just depends on your individual plan and what you are looking to do. You can definitely work with your academic advisor to kind of carve out your academic plan and fit in the amount of co-ops that you want to do. And also feel free to speak to Charlotte or I if you have any of those questions. But the academic advisors will really be a great way for you to plan out how many co-ops you want to do to make sure you can get the classes that you want to take as well. And we also have global co-op opportunities all over the world, and it's growing every semester. Obviously, with COVID, there are some different restrictions, and some places are harder to travel than others or are currently not accepting travel. So if you are interested in doing a global co-op, I would highly suggest reaching out to your co-op coordinator as soon as you can so we can discuss those possibilities. Also, just to note, there are different types of co-ops. So we do have some co-op, a lot of co-ops actually that are paid. There are some that are unpaid depending on the budgeting or the resources available for those particular co-ops. Sometimes research co-ops won't have some of the paid opportunities, but we do have a ton of paid research opportunities as well. So it just depends on where you're looking to go. And then also stipend. And there is co-op work study funding as well. We go over all of this in the co-op prep course, so don't feel like you have to memorize all of it at this moment. In addition, there are housing opportunities outside of Boston, and that is done through the Co-op Connections office. So we can put you in touch with them to see if there are housing availability for wherever you are planning to go out on co-op. And again, sometimes there are carpool options that are available. But when you start to look through the system, you will notice that some co-ops are indicated that a car is required, and that would be because the actual job function requires a car for you to be able to get there. So for instance, if you're interested in applied behavioral analysis, a lot of those particular jobs do require a car, though we do have some that don't, but that's because you're doing home visits. So there are all different types of opportunities available for all different types of students. And then there's always new advancements in the system. We are working with a new system this semester called NU Works. So I apologize about that. It's not NU Careers, it's NU Works. And we will be teaching all of the students in our co-op prep course how to actually navigate that system and use it to apply for co-ops. And there are a couple of other ways to get co-ops as well. If you wanted to self-develop or do a global co-op opportunity, there's several different ways to be able to get your co-op experience. And as I mentioned, Global Co-op is a really great way to be able to get into the workforce, but go somewhere different. And there are some new restrictions this semester. So again, just get in touch with us as soon as you can. But it does have some really great possibilities to it. It allows you to learn a new language, research, get involved in a new culture, helps you to meet new people, facilitate for cross-cultural understanding, and to also just gain cultural awareness in general. And these are the overarching themes that you will go through in our co-op prep course. So we do everything from teaching you how to research positions, to go into the actual application process, how to interview appropriately, what a reference check is and a letter of recommendation, and then how to officially accept or decline offers. And it's never too late to start getting yourself ready to go out for co-op. So we like to let students know to start getting involved on campus, out of campus as soon as you can. Start to build up that resume, especially if maybe you haven't had the opportunity to get involved in part-time jobs up until now. So start to think about what might be a great way for you to start to build your resume or to get the skills that you would need to get into the job you're looking to apply to. So you can get involved in clubs, different labs and faculties on campus are always looking for help. There's different ways that you can volunteer within your community to be able to gain some of those skills. And then also working on having a good GPA, being in touch with your professors, having good rapport with them, and then also meeting with your co-op coordinator to be able to discuss maybe the specific skills that you would need or what types of opportunities would be helpful for you. We'd be happy to meet and discuss those. And then lastly, this is just some resources for you guys to look at. There's different research experience for undergraduates. There are different websites for internships, particularly relevant to College of Science students. And then Northeastern also has their career design and engagement team, and they have several different workshops that they host every single semester. LinkedIn, how to interview, all different amazing workshops that you can get involved in. So definitely check out their events that they have. And I know they're going to be doing a lot of virtual ones this semester as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. And Charlotte, was there anything you needed to add or?
No, I will be here to the end of the meeting. So students, if they have any questions, they can ask me.
Great, thank you. And I think Kate has to leave early, so thank you for sticking around.
Thank you.
And I want to kind of emphasize something that Kate actually just said, which is like a lot of this information is going to come to you in multiple different formats and in multiple different ways. So don't worry about getting it all now. You will hear this repeated. And the thing I like to say is don't worry alone. We have a lot of different levels of advising that can help you. And so even if you don't know who to ask someone, because we will point you in the right direction if we can't answer it ourselves. So that's a nice kind of segue into a little bit more about advising, specifically now College of Science advising. And I'm very happy to have Michael and Cecile here from advising. They are in charge of the psychology majors. Many of you probably had a meeting with Michael to talk about course planning. And so I will turn it over to you two.
Hi, good afternoon. It's nice to be here today. My name is Cecile Brown-Jones. I'm a senior academic advisor in the College of Science working with students in psychology. And my colleague, Michael, here, who will speak in a few minutes, is the other advisor for psychology. Speaking of teams, we definitely function as a team. You'll work with your academic advisor to kind of plan your path here at Northeastern, integrating co-op plans, for example, or a global experience to study abroad, a dialogue of civilization that you may want to find a spot for in your academic plan. You will work with us if you're interested in adding a minor, or if for some reason a change of major isn't it works for you. It will kind of help you figure all of those things. Just as William said, we work with all of the other people supporting you, whether it's your faculty advisor, whether it's your co-op coordinator, whether it's a student athlete advisor, or someone in the pre-health team that you're working with. Who else do we have? Honors advisors. You know, you have a whole team that's there to support you, and we do work together. So you can basically go to any of us and we'll try to direct you in the right direction if we can't answer those questions. A couple of things for right now is our walk-ins. So if you have questions regarding your full registration, like pressing issues that we need to address, you need to change a class, you're attending a class, it's not what you expected and you want to make some changes there, come and see us during walk-ins. You should have received a Zoom link invitation that's valid throughout September 17th. We're available 9 to 11 a.m. in the morning, and again, 1 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Signing to see Michael or myself, I believe that at this point you received an email letting you know which one of us will be working with you this semester and moving forward, and also a welcome email from ourselves as well. After the add drop period, we will still have walk-ins or drop-ins where you can come in without an appointment. This will happen once a week and it'll be noted on our Navigate calendar. And the other type of appointments that you will be looking for are 30-minute advising appointments. During that time, we'll sit down and answer more complex questions, academic planning questions, and create an academic plan. Something that I think Michael will cover in some more details, but something that all of you will be completing this semester. Holds, this semester you get a pass on signing off on 2 very important agreements with the university. It's done automatically for you, but every semester moving forward, whether you're in classes, on co-op, studying abroad, whether it's the summer, spring, or fall, you need to do 2 things to make sure your classes don't get dropped. It is agree to the financial agreement, which is the first thing that pops in right before the semester starts in your account, and complete I Am Here. I Am Here is this old process where people were asked back in the day when Northeastern was a commuter school to come onto campus and confirm that they were actually going to take the classes they signed up for. We're not so much a commuter school anymore, but we still have this process. And what happens if you don't complete this I Am Here process by 3:59 p.m. the day before school starts, all your classes get dropped. And then you have to scramble to figure out how to get back into some classes or figure out new classes because the classes that you had are not full. So I encourage you to get on top of that and take care of this as soon as it opens, which is about 5 days before the beginning of classes. I think that's all I had for today. Again, I welcome you. I'm excited to work with all of you. I am going to pass it on to Michael, who will talk about INEC Psych 1000. He'll also stay on to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to hop off to attend the behavioral neuroscience welcome as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Cecile. Yes, my name is Michael Soroy. I am academic advisor for psychology and linguistics. So if you're one of those combo students, I'll be working with you as well. Just want to reiterate what Cecile said. I am going to talk about Psych 1000, but just reiterate, definitely come to us. If we can't give you the answer to something, we can connect you to who can. I think that's the most important thing, is keeping your academic advisors and whoever you're working with in the loop, because Northeastern's a big school. So it's just important to really figure out, you have a lot of people in your corner, so you can always kind of come to us as your hub if you're not really sure who to go to next. And I think that leads a little bit into Psych 1000, which I will be the instructor for on both sections. So if you're in that semester, you'll be working with me. If you have any questions about that after this, please reach out, send me an email. I'm sticking around after for the Q&A and stuff like that. So you might have heard, I know I worked with a lot of you over the summer building classes or building your schedules and for classes for the fall. But Psych 1000 is really going to teach you how to be a successful Northeastern student. I think it's set up in a way that's going to be really intuitive. There's weekly modules that you'll sign in, that they open on Mondays and they close on Sundays. You're going to sign in and you're just going to work through each module. All the resources you need are going to be there. All the assignments you need are going to be there. And we're going to cover everything from here. I wrote down a few things. everything from just like academic resources, tutoring, that kind of thing, to, you know, utilizing the library. How do you utilize the library now that it's, you know, harder to get in person? How do you utilize that remotely? We're going to be doing things like, you know, we'll have sections on psychology. So we'll look in the research that's happening in the department. You'll hear from some current psychology students, which I think is going to be really, really helpful to keep you engaged and really interesting. And I think one of the, you know, what I would say one of the most important assignments that we have in Psych 1000 is the assignment that has you build your degree plan with your advisor, which will be either Cecile or me. And really that's when you sit down. I think I probably talked to a lot of you in the summer, like, I want to, you know, plan everything right now. And I was like, well, wait until the beginning, you know, wait until we get into the semester. And that's really going to be a big project when you sit down, you figure out how many co-ops you want to do. If you want to study abroad, you do all this kind of stuff, like what you want to do. And we sit down and we plan that. And that's one of the big assignments in this course that I'll be instructing. And I think, and besides that, there's like some reflections, and there's you know, the final is just a group project that you do with some people in your cohort. But I think, you know, ideally the way I designed the course is by the end of it, you know, you could teach a freshman student like all there is to know about just like how to be a student at Northeastern, how to run degree audits, do all that kind of stuff. So it should be a really helpful course instead of just dumping a bunch of information on you in a PDF. This is gonna be little bite-sized pieces that are gonna really set you up for success here at Northeastern. And if you have any questions, any issues, or anything like that, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or set up a meeting with me. I'm always happy to help.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Michael. All right, so that takes us to just talking a little bit now about the undergraduate department in psychology. And so for that, I have a couple things to say, but I want to introduce Dr. Heather Brenhouse, who is our new director of the undergraduate program. And I know she and I talked about what she was going to say, and now I've in the anxiety of all running this meeting, I've forgotten some of it. So Heather, I'll just say you could say whatever you want, and then I'll just pick up whatever I have left on my list to mention. Sorry about that.
No problem. I have every confidence that you'll probably pick up all of my slack because I'm going to leave you a lot. So yes, I'm Heather Brenhouse, and I am the director of education. What that means is that I basically direct the committee that takes responsibility for policies that surround undergraduate curriculum, course requirements, exceptions around prerequisites, and things of that nature. So you actually won't, as students, have a lot of direct contact with me in that capacity. Usually, you'll actually probably have more communication with me as a professor, and I'm also a director of one of the labs that Dr. Cooley was talking about. So we also have undergraduate researchers. But that said, even though you might not have direct contact with me all the time, you're always welcome to reach out to me. If you know, if all the other avenues you've been given today somehow fail, you can always contact me, and I can also direct you to someone who you need to talk to surrounding your undergraduate education. So I'm always here, just like all the rest of us here. And so I just want to welcome you as well, again, as the director of education, and I'm gonna let William really take over the rest of it. Dr. Sharp.
Great, thank you. So just a couple of reminders. You just heard Cecile mention the I am here. I'm going to assume that most of you have already kind of done that. And I think it may not even need to have happened this semester just because of how things are. But in the future, it is something to remember to make sure that you just check off that you are coming so that you don't get purged from your courses. On the screen right now, you see the two lists. On the right-hand column is Dr. Szeski and myself as your two main faculty advisors. Dr. Snyder is also another faculty advisor in psychology, but as already has been mentioned, I think by Dr. Coley, if you have a connection with the faculty and you want to know what their lab is like, you want to know how they got interested in psychology, just ask, because they really, faculty really are very interested in connecting with students, and of course we all like talking about how we got to where we are, and it's not always the most direct route, the way we got to doing the thing, how we got interested in the things we were doing. So you know, just be okay with talking with people. This semester, being that there's so much change and things being remote, you're going to be a little bit more creative about how you're connecting with faculty. So looking at office hours and things like that. So, you know, make sure you're checking on your professor syllabi, when they're hosting office hours, how you schedule, or do you just drop in, things like that. But so Dr. Cizeski, myself, and Dr. Snyder will help you specifically with the psychology major. All three of us can talk about the different career choices. You know, psychology is such an amazing major because everything from the bachelor's level up to the doctoral level, there's so many different things that are available to you. You know, even just thinking about this particular meeting, how, you know, Dr. Beck started saying, like, we're all kind of using new technology, and in a way we're doing some on the ground research on what works and what doesn't, so that we can continue to kind of improve things. And Dr. Coley talked more about some of the specific research, and then going out and actually working through co-op. All these things, psychology just has a hand in, because it's always about people and it's always about behavior and thoughts and feelings. So I think it's a great major. I obviously love it. I love teaching the subject. So you know, I think you made a smart choice being a psychology major. But any of your faculty advisors will help you with thinking about, where do you want to take your major? What kind of careers do you want? What kind of courses can you be taking in order to do that particular career? Where should you be going? I also wanted to introduce, and I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure who all is here. I don't believe Dr. Cizeski and Dr. Snyder were able to make it, but if I'm wrong, feel free to chime in. But I do believe both Maribel and Gina are here.
I'm here, William. Gina.
Hi, Gina. Thank you so much for coming in. Gina, do you want to talk about what your job is? Because it's, you two are like the backbone of the department.
Yeah, so Maribel and myself, we do a lot in the main office. I coordinate keys for a lot of the labs spaces. So I'll probably be running into some of you guys at some point. Maribel and myself also handle Psylink, which is linked to Psych 1101. So if you guys have any issues with that, you can always email myself or her, or we also have a joint email, which is called psychstaff@northeastern.edu. Right now, we are currently maintaining the office both remotely and on campus. So if you happen to stop by, there'll be someone between the hours of 9 to 4. But, you know, always feel free to email us. That's probably the best way right now. I'm sorry, William, I didn't have anything prepared.
No, that's
but,
is one of the advantages of this is that this is the first year that I've been emceeing this event, and you, one of you at least, were able to drop in, because normally you're so busy in the main office, you can't run over to Shulman. So there's a positive to all of this, that we actually get to be introduced. Is it just you, or is Maribel here as well?
I'm right here. You can see me?
Now I see you.
Oh, I've been sitting here patiently, you know.
What would you like to say?
Well, first of all, welcome everyone on board, and hope you have a wonderful experience at Northeastern. The undergraduates, secretary assistants, if you need any help with scheduling, or have to meet with an advisor, we can connect you with. We no longer have any kinds of forms that you would need in the department. They're all online. But if you have a question how to do a form, or where you could find a form, and who you should submit it, definitely, like as Gina said, email us and we'll direct it to the right person. But I'm a backbone for Professor Sharp, Professor Snyder, Cizeski. So if they're not around and I can help you in registering or looking for a class, feel free to utilize me. I'm here between 9 to 4. Again, like Gina said, some of us remotely, someone are on campus, so we rotate every other week. But definitely, if Gina's here and she could reach me, I'll be able to answer the question. But I wish we could have been in a better setting, seeing each other instead of remotely. But welcome everybody.
it's a little depriving, right? Because we see each other, but it still doesn't feel the same as being in person.
I miss you all. I'm by myself here.
And I see you're on ground. You're in Nightingale 125, which is where the office is housed and where faculty mailboxes are. So
very beautiful, spacious, bright, got new lights and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for zooming in. And you know, when things are better, definitely everybody that you met will be your friend. But I find, you know, both Gina and Maribel have been around and they know a lot of answers and they are great people. And, you know, Snickers bars, candy, any of that is welcome with any kind of request. So, you know, we all have our things. If you're wondering what I like, I'm a red velvet person. So if it's red velvet, that's usually a good bribe to attach with any kind of exception or petition. So. Okay, thank you for coming in. And I believe that leads us then to Carter, who is the president of our Psych Club. Carter, are you here?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Carter, take it away.
Great. So I just sent in the chat the link to join for Psych Club and my email if you need anything. So that should be there if you want to join while I'm talking about the Psych Club. So Dr. Sharp, if we want to put the Psych Club page up. Yeah, so this is the Psych Club. It is the Psychology Department's student-run club. And like Dr. Sharp said, I'm the president of it. And we have 4 other members on the e-board. That photo was from February, which seems like ages ago. And that's when we had a speaker come in to teach us about creative therapies. So that looks like, you know, drama and using art and kind of using that as a form of therapy, especially group therapy. So that's one of the few things we do in the Psych Club. So to back up a little bit, the Psych Club, like I said, is the student-led psychology department club. So that means we meet like a normal club. We're just supported by the psychology department instead of being supported by CSI. So a bit about psychology department. We have meetings every other week for an hour, and those can look like a few different things. We have a lot of panels. So there's a co-op panel and a research panel that are not always given every semester. So, you know, like pretty much everyone here who has said, like, you can go 100 different ways with psychology. Like I've gone into HR, for example. So I did one co-op at Bain Capital Credit in HR, but some of the other people in Psych Club have done on-campus co-ops with research labs, or have done, one of them, I know she was a vet tech for a bit. So there's a bunch of different ways you can go, and we're trying to create a space where like you're not meeting with an advisor, and it's much more like, okay, what was your student experience on that co-op? So we can kind of talk about it in that way, and you can also get exposed to co-ops that maybe you've never heard of because the site is so large and there are so many options on a new careers or whatever the new site is. So then we also have speakers come in sometimes. So for example, one of our meetings coming up this semester is a BIPOC mental health awareness meeting, and that will be with a speaker from UHCS, which is our University Health and Counseling Services. And that meeting obviously will focus on all the mental health resources for people of color, but also kind of how people of color are affected differently by mental health and how the system, especially like insurance, doesn't treat them fairly. And that is going to be an interesting conversation to hop in for, and very timely as well. So sorry for all the noises. I have 5 million computers open. And then we also have a ton of just like fun meetings. So when we're actually in person, we love to always have a like painting meeting. So we'll try to have it like either right before or right after Thanksgiving or spring break to kind of just like relax and like talk about how like painting and other creative outlooks are great to, sorry, that's Alexa talking. To do it again, I know. Okay.
From your calendar,
so,
a welcome-based scavenger hunt starts in 10 minutes.
Okay. So
I'm not sure. from your calendar.
Alexa, stop talking.
Starts in 10 minutes.
I'm so sorry. This is the joys of technology and being all together.
From your calendar. Explore welcome day.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep talking. So painting is like an aspect that can be a creative outlet just for fun, but also to kind of get in touch with feelings that maybe are sitting below the surface. And so, you know, we'll normally have like Dr. Sharp come in and kind of talk maybe a bit about how like Freud would view like painting and like what like meanings can come out of it. But then also we can talk about, you know, how the different usage, especially in like child psychology. So while the psychology department tries, or psychology club, we try to like provide a lot of helpful resources, we also just try to be a fun group. I think we create great community, and you know, when our meetings are in person, they technically are only supposed to last for an hour, but they can last for so much longer because normally they're catered. So we'll have some great food and just sit with Qdoba for like 2 hours, just catching up about different things we're doing research in, or purely just like making friends and being like, okay, we're both psych majors. Let's like talk about how we got there. And then you can find like a ton of other ways to connect. So I'm seeing in the chat, the Google Doc requires an email, but only as a number. Oh, what in the world? Okay. I will make sure we can like send out an actual working link. I'm so sorry about that. It was working the other day. But that being said, if you want to get involved, like I said, we have meetings once every other week at 6 p.m. starting on September 16th. So every other Wednesday starting on September 16th, we'll have a meeting at 6 p.m. and it will be Zoom. We're not meeting in person to stay safe. But if you want to get involved, you can sign up for our email list, and I will make sure to add that in the chat, a working link in a minute. But once you get on the email list, you can have access to all of our meetings. And it should be pretty fun. We try to have a lot of great speakers come, especially this year since everything's virtual, so it's a little bit easier that way. So if you're, you know, you love psych, if you have a friend, like a friend who's undeclared, bring them and try to convince them. That's what happened for me. But normally we're just like a really fun club, and we're trying to just be a helpful, safe space, not only discuss mental health, but also, you know, create a safe space to have those conversations, because we're all psych majors when it comes down to it, and we love psychology, but that also means we need to like listen to ourselves and listen to each other. So psych club's normally really fun. I'm sorry we can't have catered food to everyone's dorm this year. But yeah, I'll get you a link in a minute, and I hope to see you all at some meetings.
Very good. And Carter, just to, so the first meeting was September 16th.
Yes, September 16th, the second Wednesday in classes.
Great. And I want to, you know, again, Psych Club is great because it is completely student run. So if you're interested in getting involved and even taking leadership roles, I think it's a good club to start with and to kind of get involved with. And yeah, so they put a lot of work into getting and coordinating when people can come and having a speaker. So it's a really good club. And if you're a major, I think it's the one that you definitely, one of the first ones you want to join. So thank you again, Carter. Okay, that is going to open us up then to a question and answer portion of the course, of our meeting today. And so I think in order to do that, I'm going to actually stop sharing the screen just so that we can see each other a little better, and it's easier for me to see if there are questions coming in the chat. So I'm very happy if people want to just chime in and say something, but if you feel better typing something in the chat, feel free. So we have one question from Yael about how can I get involved in research this semester? Somebody want to take that one, or I'm happy to answer it if no one else wants to take it.
I can start.
Yeah, go for it.
So I could tell you that basically any semester you're interested, the earlier you ask, the better. But obviously here we are in fall, and the summer was a little bit insane. So obviously not everybody could have made the decisions early enough. There are going to be some labs that are already full and some labs that aren't. So what I would do is I would actually go onto the website and look at different labs and see which ones you find interesting. You're going to want a reason why you want to join one lab versus another, other than just emailing somebody and saying, I want research experience. So basically look at the website, see what lights you up, and email the professors, email the directors, and you can email, usually the websites have, I think, contact information for not just the principal investigator, the director, but also, you know, graduate student to the postdoc. So feel free to email anybody who you feel comfortable emailing and say, look, I'm really interested in your lab for these reasons. Do you have any openings? And don't get discouraged if you hear people say, I'm so sorry, the lab is full. I know personally my lab is actually full. I've had to turn a couple people down recently. But that said, they would say, if they were me, they would probably say, please check back again, or let's, you know, schedule a time to talk about maybe future semesters. So just go ahead, and it's okay to cold email people as long as you have a reason that you want to join their lab.
Sorry, so is that the core lab website?
That would be an example of one of the labs. If you're interested in that lab, you would actually go to that website and you would email whatever contact, well, in this case, obviously it would be Dr. Coley. But yeah, you would go to those kinds of websites. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And Yael, it's something that's good to know too. I always tell a lot of students, if you're not sure, Google something. So if you were to go to a search browser and just type in Northeastern University Psychology Research Labs, you'll get a link that shows all the different labs. And then many of the labs have their own website within that. So you can click through and read, because I think what Dr. Brenthouse is saying is really true, that most of the people know when it's a formatted email that you're sending to 10 different people. It's really good to kind of indicate that you have a specific interest, because, you know, I want to work with children, or I'm really interested in cognition, or I'm really interested in visual perception, you know, something, you know, write a letter of interest that I think is connected to the lab, because otherwise it does feel like it's just, you know, somebody randomly sending emails to everybody, and you're less likely to get a good response that way.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. So yeah, Googling is your friend, and I don't get paid from Google to say that. I'm just saying that if you Google things, it'll answer a lot of the questions about where the links are. Jessica asks, could you talk a little bit about combined majors with psychology? So Jessica, we do have a couple of majors that we have put together. For example, a popular one is psych and business. My short answer to that is that's a good question to ask your faculty advisor. So either myself or Dr. Cizeski or Dr. Snyder, or even your College of Science advisor. But I'd probably say that's a good one for your faculty advisor. And I'm happy to help students figure out if there's something else that they should be doing along with psychology, because usually with that question, the first thing I ask is, well, what are you interested in and what do you want to do? And then we can make a plan on how to help you do that. So I think that's the best answer I can give on that one, Jessica.
Sorry, I was wondering if maybe, is it possible to do, I know that the co-op advisor mentioned that you do your co-op in the second year of in the second semester of your second year. Is it still possible to do it if you're a transfer student?
Charlotte, are you still in here? Do you want to take that one?
Yes. So if you're a transfer student, you need to be in Northeastern for one semester before you go out on co-op. So usually for the co-ops, for the transfer student, they will take the intro to co-op class in the first semester, so that they will take care of these requirements, and they can do the co-op in the second semester when they are allowed to do the co-op. Yeah, answer your questions?
Okay, yeah, that answered my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I know we're coming up against a time boundary, but if there are any other questions, I am fine with hanging on a little bit, and some other people might be able to hang on. But I do want to, before people start signing out, I do want to just make sure I thank everybody for coming. This is just a really busy time of year, and so to give an hour to send welcome, so I want to thank Dr. Bex and Dr. Coley, Charlotte, Kate, Michael, Cecile. I know some people have left, Carter, Dr. Brenhouse. So thank you all for coming, and I'm hoping in my list I haven't forgotten anybody now. I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes in case there are some questions that people want to ask. So one question from Ha, is it difficult to do a co-op and the +1 program?
No, we have a lot of students in the +1 program and do co-op. The most important thing is to work with your academic advisor and your faculty advisor to plan out your classes, because you don't want to do a co-op and then the classes just happen in the semester that you are doing co-op and you miss that class. So it's very important for you to plan out your blueprint of, well, at least the first couple years, the classes you need to take. And then we will work around that to assign your co-op cycle. So long story short is you can do a co-op program in a +1 program.
And I might add on that it's actually a good idea, because I do a lot of advising for students who want to do the ABA +1. And it's actually a good idea to go out and work as a behavioral technician to find out if it's really what you want to do, as opposed to jumping into a master's program and realizing, oh, I don't want to do that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I actually did that myself, and my first master's was in school psychology, and I realized, oh, I don't want to be a school psychologist. But I think the co-ops might help you determine, like, oh, is this something that I really want to do? And if you find out that it's not, that's good information, and then we can start thinking about what else you might want to do. So
yeah, we have a lot of ABA co-op position in the system, so you are welcome to look around and see if you're interested.
Another question just came in. How often do new undergraduate research opportunities turn up? I may be interested to do one next semester if possible.
So since I answered the first part of that question, I guess I could answer this one too. The short answer is all the time. New research opportunities come up all the time because it all depends, it's also fluid. It all depends on who in labs are graduating or going off on co-op or leaving lab for some other reason. And so undergraduate research in every lab ebbs and flows at completely different rates. So it's just a good idea to get on in and ask. And then the professor or whoever you talk to will be able to give you a really good idea of whether there's opportunities this semester, next semester, or next year. And it really depends on, it goes lab to lab. But the opportunities are popping up constantly.
Thank you, Dr. Brenhouse. So next question was, is co-op advising separate from academic advising? If so, how do I access co-op advising? I know, yes, it is different. Charlotte, do you want to?
Yes, co-op advising is different from academic advising. For the co-op advising, like Kate said, we have, I'm working with site students from A to L, and also all the linguistic students. And then Kate working with site students, last name from M to C. So depends on your last name. So we will be available for you to answer any questions about the co-op. And you also need to take an intro to co-op class before you go out to the co-op program. So it's different from the academic advising. So I will let Michael to talk about the academic advising.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this might sound a little over simplified, but anything co-op, you're going to go to Charlotte or Kate, and then anything involving your academic degree and planning and that kind of stuff, you're going to come to me first. You kind of think about that's like how it splits, and then Charlotte and Kate, and then also Cecile. We communicate and we work together. Say if you're changing, something, you want to change your co-op pattern or something like that, you would go to Charlotte first, and then she would connect with me. And I think for setting up a meeting, an academic advising meeting, I sent it in my welcome email. So if you didn't see that, I'll just kind of explain it here. What you want to do is go into your Northeastern portal and then go into Navigate, and then you can schedule a meeting. You just search for me as your advisor. You can schedule a meeting and have all my availability. And that's the best way to like set up a meeting with me. Definitely put a note in so I know what we're gonna be working on. If you're like, I wanna, add a minor or do this, I can be prepared, or Cecile can be prepared to help you with that. And I think, and then if there's something that doesn't work, definitely just shoot me an email or shoot Cecile an email. And we can definitely find a time that will work within our schedules. But definitely think about anything co-op, start with Charlotte or Kate. Anything like degree planning, start with Cecile and I.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know so you can email me.
Great, maybe we'll take one more question if someone has one. Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone again. I know you have a couple of other meetings options for today. So good luck. Classes start tomorrow. So good luck with classes and getting through everything. And I'll say good luck. And don't be afraid to ask if you get confused about something. Great questions today. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye everybody.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.